Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here today. That was excellent questioning there for Senator Kane. I've spent 40 years teaching and coaching, and you hit it right on the head. Respect, environment, and pay. Mostly women are our teachers, higher percentage of them. And I think all three of those should be accountable if we're going to get our education back to where it should be. So thank you all for being here today. Mr. Russell, as you know, Congress appropriated 3 waves of federal K-12 pandemic relief funding. In the third wave of funding that came with the passage of the American Rescue Plan in March 2021, Congress required school districts to set aside 20% of the funds to address student learning loss through evidence-based interventions. What evidence-based interventions would you prioritize, if you were running your school district? What would you do with that 20%?
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you so much, Senator, for that question. There's a couple things I would do. I think, number one, I would have a more robust inclusion program with our students, making sure that all of our students are able to be included within the curriculum. And what I mean by that is making sure that teachers are equipped to teach all of our students, making sure that students receive that quality of education that they deserve. And I think number two, as we have done at Oberlin High School, is that we hire specialists. We hire instructional coaches to really focus on students who are struggling and also to really focus on teacher instructional pedagogy. So those are the 2 things I will really focus on.
Anybody else got anything they want to add to that?
Just a point on that, not all our schools were resourced similarly. And
Right.
so within our districts, we have districts that received $40,000 and districts that received $200 million. What you can do between there is really very different. So allowing districts to assess their need and determine what needs to occur for them locally, I think is really important.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, Ms. Wall, extensive research has shown that students achieve more in school when their parents are involved in their education. I think we'll all agree with that. And as a former educator and coach, I couldn't agree more. I've seen it firsthand. Children are empowered to reach new heights when their parents or guardians are engaged. In your testimony, you highlighted that as the parent of a child with a learning disability, you supplemented your son's virtual learning with a tutor who provided in-person instruction. While not every parent is fortunate enough to do that, your decisive action ensured your son would not fall further behind the classroom, which I've seen that time and time again. In your opinion, what are the primary barriers to parent involvement in school programs? What do you think keeps parents out of involvement now?
Thank you, Senator, for your question. I think, one of the struggles with the virtual learning was just, the time of day. I mean, it took place in the middle of the school day. Parents were at work, and they weren't able to sit there with their children at home and be a part of their school day. So I think that's the biggest issue, and I think that's why it's important for teachers to work with the parents to help identify what those learning gaps may be, so then the parents can be more involved with their children, whether that's, at the end of the school day, helping them with their homework or, providing tutoring services, whatever that may be, but just, finding the right time so that parents can be involved in that educational process with their kids.
Thank you. Ms. Russell Tucker, recent data indicates that charter schools experienced undeniable success despite COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, nearly every state saw charter school enrollment increase in 2019-20 school year to 2021. In Alabama, there was a 65% increase in charter school enrollment and a 1.4 decrease in public school enrollment. In your state of Connecticut, charter schools saw a 1.2% increase in enrollment and a nearly 3% decrease in district public school enrollment. Without charter schools, overall public school enrollment declines might have been far worse, leading to further learning losses. Why do you think charter schools experienced record growth during the pandemic?
In some cases, Senator, I believe families were looking for smaller learning environments, and so that was something that they might have gravitated to. And I know in Connecticut, we've worked across the board for families to be able to have the ability to make decisions around what they needed to do for learning, but also critically important that our schools are all sharing specific information with families so they can make decisions, to the point sometimes of, having families walk through a building to have a sense of health and safety that's in that building. And so it really was important to make sure that all our families were able to make those decisions based on the school types that they were a part of.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.